If you keep getting ghosted by potential customers after you send off the estimate, then watch this entire video because it will without question drastically help increase your closing ratio, helping you land more jobs and ultimately making you more money. Listen close to what I say in this video because I'm talking about the 3 reasons why your competitors are closing more jobs than you are. But before we get to that, if you're interested in parking lot striping and want to start a business that's highly profitable, consider checking out the How to Stripe course. It covers striping, how to get customers, marketing material, pricing, and much more. We've got so many students that are now a part of the 6-Figure Club, and it's all because they put in the work, got the training, and took action. The link will be in the comment section and the description of this video. Or if you want to fast track that success and cut the learning curve in half to accomplish that 6-figure mark in half the time, sign up for the collective program. That link will be the second pinned comment in the comment section and the description of this video. Like the video, let's get to it. Okay, so let's talk about the reasons why you're probably losing out on these opportunities when these potential customers are coming your way. Number 1, you're probably charging too much. And this happens a lot, especially with guys that do not have the proper amount of lead flow coming into their business. Now, when you don't have a proper amount of lead flow coming into your business, that means you're not able to pick and choose who you work for. And what happens when you don't have the proper amount of lead flow coming in, you're operating from a position of being too desperate. And when you're too desperate, you try to raise up your prices because every single customer that comes your way has a significant impact. What happens is people get too greedy as a result of their desperation. And I've had guys call me and they cannot figure out why they send off a price, a customer ghosts them, and then they never get a call back. I'm telling them whenever I'm looking at the estimate or we're having a conversation about it, I'm saying your prices are too high. You're trying to make too much money and you're being too greedy. And as a result of that, you're losing the opportunity to get this customer. And that's why it's so important as a business owner, especially if you're a newly operating business owner, is to have a proper amount of lead flow, which is why I tell you guys, Google is so important. When you have lead flow coming in off of Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, cold calling, direct email marketing, a sales rep, all these things begin to compound over time. And before you know it, you have leads coming in from every direction in your business. When you have enough leads coming in your business, you get to pick and choose who you work for and how much it is that you want to charge. Because if a job comes in and you don't want to fool with it, well, guess what? You can just send an outrageous price. And then if they don't accept it, it's not a big deal because you're going to have more leads coming in from different directions. You know how many times that people have called me? I haven't wanted to mess with a job because I had to do some grinding or some extra pressure washing or something like that. And I sent them an outrageously high price just so I wouldn't have to go to the property. And then they accept it, even though I didn't want to fool with it in the first place. But the ticket price is so high that it was worth it for me to go out, but I never even thought that they would accept it. That's why it's important when you have enough lead flow is you're not operating from a position of desperation. I'm not desperate at my charging because if I want to charge a high price, I'm going to charge a high price, not only because I know what I'm worth, but also because if I don't get that job, I'm going to have leads coming in from every direction in our business. And so if you're not getting these jobs and you're sending out estimates and they're not responding, you're probably charging too much. And it's most likely because you don't have enough lead flow coming in and you're operating out of desperation. Number 2 is there's not enough perceived value in the offer that you're giving to your potential customers. Now, why is this important? It's important because when you send off an estimate or you send off a proposal or you're engaging and interacting with a potential customer, they have to have a good understanding of the perceived value. For example, I got a call yesterday from a guy who has been running a business for an entire year. He has only gotten one job. I'm not kidding. He's only gotten one job operating his business for an entire year. And I asked him, I said, what do you think the problem is? Why have you only gotten one job? Why? That was my response. And his initial reaction was, I just don't think that they're interested in spending the money. I don't think that they want their parking lot to look good. He automatically deflected, put it on someone else for the reason why he wasn't able to close the deals. And my response to him was, well, why is it their fault? If they're not accepting your bid, it's probably because there's not enough perceived value for them to act upon it. And not only that, it depends on where the traffic is coming from. If it's a cold call or a cold email outreach campaign and you send off an estimate, but they're not responding, it was a cold lead to begin with, right? But if these customers are coming in off of, say, Google, that means it's a warm lead and the intent to purchase for them is significantly higher. And so I told him, I said, you have to increase the value proposition when you're interacting with customers. I say this all the time. These people are not just buying pressure washing, seal coating, line striping. They're not just purchasing that. I mean, obviously that's the end result, but if you're going to sell these people at a higher price, you have to present yourself in such a way where you're worth whatever price it is that you're sending. And if you increase that value proposition in your estimates, in your customer interactions, how you go from the overall process from the start to the finish, that is sending the quote, performing the job, and then invoicing the customer, that entire customer experience, as you get better at doing this over time, it's going to give you more confidence. You're going to be able to go on these jobs and find a solution for the customer that is customized to every single parking lot. They're purchasing the confidence that they have in your ability to be able to go out and produce the result. And that's the difference between someone who's able to charge what they want and then someone who is just desperate for any job that comes along. I'm not the cheapest guy, and I'm also not desperate for any job that comes along. You have to position yourself in such a way that if the customer feels like by them not choosing you, they're intentionally giving themselves a subpar experience, which causes us to go into reason number 3, is you don't have enough social proof in your company to establish credibility. Now, what do I mean by this? If you send off a proposal $300 more expensive than, let's say, one of your competitors, well, if the prices are relatively the same, do you know what they're going to do? They're going to look up your website. They're going to look at your website, your photos, your Google business profile. And if your competitor is cheaper than you and has better social proof, who do you think they're going to go for? If you're a couple $100 more expensive than me because you're desperate, but I'm the highest rated company in the state, who do you think they're going to go with? They're going to go with the company that has the most amount of social proof. I know this for a fact because I win bids over my competitors all the time simply because we're the highest rated company in the state. I position myself in such a way that by them choosing me, they know internally when they pick us, they're going to get more value. They're going to get more out of the overall experience when dealing with me from start to finish. When you have so much social proof in your company, when you send off a proposal, you could be more expensive, you could be cheaper. It doesn't matter because you can always position it in such a way by saying, hey, we're the highest rated company in our state, so we might be more expensive than somebody else. But do you want a bunch of high school kids working on your parking lot and potentially they might mess something up? But see, when we touch your parking lot, you've got a trained professional coming to make sure that we offer a quality result, and we're going to give you the best price possible, but also professionals are going to be on your lot. Like, there's so many ways you guys could position the way that you're selling these customers. You're losing out on so many opportunities by not having enough social proof to establish credibility. And so to put it in perspective, me and this guy are having this phone call, and I listed out all of the leads that I got as a result of closed deals in our first quarter. So I think it was $109,000 in confirmed estimates that I got last month, on top of what we've already done in quarter one. And I said, listen, you're losing out on so much organic traffic just by not having enough social proof in your company. You're already in year 2, and this is stuff that you should have been doing in year 1. I've got one of my guys who's been with me in the collective program, and I told him, you're just now doing in year 3 what you should have been doing your first season. It takes time to develop the social proof that you're going to leverage in the future. It just takes time. You're not going to be able to bypass the process of developing the credibility that you need to leverage in the future to get bigger and better projects. So if they're comparing you to someone else, whether you're cheaper or more expensive, if someone has a better website, better Google reviews, and an overall better social presence, they're going to go with the better looking company. It is what it is, unless they're a cheap customer. And in that case, if they go with a guy that doesn't have enough social proof as I do, then ultimately it doesn't matter because, like I said, I've got enough leads coming in to keep the calendar full. And so if you're doing one of these three things, that's why they're not calling you back. You're either charging too much, there's not enough perceived value in your offer to the potential customer, that or you don't have enough social proof in your company to establish credibility. Now, if you change these things, I think that you're going to see a significant increase in your closing ratio. Drop your prices a little bit, test the market. Don't keep doing things that are not working and then going, well, I guess they just don't want their property done. No, you need to make a change in what it is that you're doing because you're the one that's doing something wrong. And so if you change those three things, I believe that you're going to have a significant increase in your closing ratio. Thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell icon, and we will see you in the next video.